Are you okay just to state your name and your position for me?
Yeah, it's Clive Lewis, Labour MP for Norwich South.
Lovely. And so, what are your current thoughts on Boris Johnson resigning as Prime Minister?
Well, he hasn't. He's resigned as leader of the Conservative Party. He's still Prime Minister, and frankly, it's just a continuing shambles. I think the vast majority of the public want him to go. I don't think he has any ability to be able to govern his party. I think there will be constant sniping from the backbenches, even briefing from his own cabinet about the fact that he should be gone. And frankly, him now as Prime Minister pushing through often controversial policies, such as, for example, picking a trade war with one of the biggest exporters in the world in the middle of a cost of living crisis, I don't think he has any authority to do that. So I think it's problematic, and I think this is far from resolved at the moment.
Okay, so with all credibility lost, is him staying until October conference beneficial for the country, do you think?
No, I don't think it's beneficial for the country. It's not beneficial for the country because it continues the instability. His party is already sniping after the announcement. This isn't a stable 3 months that we have ahead of us. And we need some stability. We need a change of government, ultimately, I would say. But we need, at the very least, some stability. And Boris Johnson simply does not offer that by staying in as Prime Minister, but not leader of his party. It's a fudge. And I think most of the public tonight just wanted a clean sweep. They wanted to see him gone. And whilst I may have issues with how our democracy works, and now a bunch of Tories who voted through everything that Boris Johnson has been about, many of them who have supported him throughout his lies, are now going to continue governing the country. And some of them are going to try and become the next Prime Minister. So it's a completely unsatisfactory situation at the moment.
So what do you think needs to happen next? Like, what's the best thing that can take place to make sure this is resolved, do you think?
I think Keir Starmer should do as he's suggested he would do and initiate a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister at Parliament. Let's finish this off. Let's finish Boris Johnson off. Let's get rid of him, see the back of him. And then we can at least look forward to the psychodrama that will be the next 3 months as the Conservative Party tears itself apart and the country in the process trying to pick a new leader. It will be a vicious internal campaign to become the next Prime Minister. I don't think whoever it is will change anything. Most of the people who will no doubt stand will have been in his cabinet. They would have voted for every single piece of toxic policy that Boris Johnson has put through. And I don't see any real change. It's just basically a change at the front of house. The same rotten edifice that is this Conservative government will still be in power, will still be enacting legislation, which frankly, I think many people in this country have second thoughts about at the very least.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other comments on generally just the events of what have happened in obviously the last 48 hours? Because as you can probably agree, it's been a bit of a roller coaster from Rishi Sunak and Sajid Javid resigning to where we are now.
Yes, I do. So much of this is really bread and circuses. It's exciting because it's like a soap opera unfolding. It's like a dysfunctional family having an argument, and it's all Big Brother and evicting, the latest star guest on that program. And I understand why people can find it fascinating. But at the same time, people also understand that, we're looking at a country where, because of inflation, we may see up to 10 million people pushed into poverty as a result. There's a war in Europe. There's a climate crisis unfolding. At the same time, we have a Conservative government which is falling apart, not just because of the arrogance of one individual, but because of a collective, if you want, amnesia, for want of a better word, of the entire Conservative Party about what they've been doing these past 2 years under Boris Johnson. So, look, what moments like this highlight to us is the sheer inadequacy of our democracy. Boris Johnson's main sin for the political establishment of this country wasn't his greed or the policies that he's passed. It was the fact that he revelled in his wrongdoing rather than hide behind the usual courtesies and procedures of state that such people as Boris Johnson do. We increasingly do not live in a democracy. That's not just my opinion. That's the opinion of many independent observers who are looking at the state and health of democracy around the world, from the US to the UK. We increasingly live in a democracy which is fading, which is broken. And I think people can see that our democracy is broken when you see things like this. Moments like this show really clearly that people are quite simply powerless to effect the change that they really want to see. And it's taken a handful of government ministers to decide that they are probably going to lose their seats at the next election for a lying prime minister to finally end up at the end game. He's not even gone yet. So I think, it really is quite revealing about the state of play of British democracy and just how much of a reboot and a revamp that it needs for the 21st century.